Broadcasting on Star Worldwide Networks. It's Two Small Biz Guys. And now, here are your hosts, Zen Benefiel and Ray Silverstein.
You give me a blank space or stare.
I know, because you were waiting for the big introduction.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm being small today.
I know, but we got
Two small biz guys, pun intended
we have a great
there.
guest, though.
Yeah.
So we can be small, and he's going to be very big.
He is going to be very big. Speaking of very big, longtime Chicago area resident, Jeff Bartelt with a silent T.
Well, whatever way. He doesn't care how you pronounce it.
Bartelt with a cross T at the end.
Bartelt. He telt it all. And
that's all right. My wife's still trying to get it right, too. No problem.
Yeah, after 45 years or so?
Yes.
You think she might
married
get
at
it.
10, yes.
All right. Well, Jeff, it's great to have you on the show. And I know Ray's known you for a while. I'm just getting to know you. And we promise we won't sing a whole lot.
Thank goodness for that. I'm glad to hear that. But, okay, so Jeff has a great business, a great guest. He's going to be a super duper guest, and
it's called MidwestHR LLC, and he operates a company that is a PEO. And for those of you who don't understand that is a
professional employment organization. But Jeff, why don't you tell us? First of all, welcome. But why don't you tell us,
you guys.
What is exactly a PEO?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on your show. Very much appreciated. A PEO, it stands for Professional Employer Organization. The industry has been around for about 35 years now, and there's a lot of people using a PEO. What a PEO does is works with businesses. Could be smaller with 5-10 employees. It could have several hundreds of employees or greater, working with a company where they outsource and their HR functions of their business to the PEO.
And so those HR functions would include?
Basically, it ties into 4 items. Payroll and payroll taxes, similar to what a payroll service would provide. Secondly would be benefit administration, benefit procurement and administration. So that would include medical, dental, vision, long-term, short-term, retirement plans, things of that nature.
I see. So
yes.
When you said vision, I thought, oh, I see. Okay.
And then workers' compensation, same idea there, where we can, as a PEO, secure and administer the workers' compensation insurance for a business. And lastly, the human resource side of it. Many small businesses that start off have a vision of what they want to do, and they focus on that. And all of these other things creep up on them, and the owner may not have expertise in all of these areas and just want to focus on their core business. But with all the changing employment laws that are happening more and more each day, and with penalties and fines and things of that nature, people need to have their arms around them, or it could be very costly to them.
Or to have someone like you who does know everything to be available.
I don't know everything, but I got the people that know everything.
You got people, right?
I got peeps.
That's PEO. That's people.
That's right. But so
PEO.
Right, you got that. You
right?
got that. So basically,
you
are an outsource for HR, payroll, and benefits, so that the company can really concentrate on their business and not worry about those peripheral type items.
Exactly right. So there are more and more companies that are doing this. Just with the ever-changing employment laws, there's more and more laws that are coming out every day. It varies by state. So the laws in Arizona are different than they are in Illinois.
So with the state of affairs, what do you find to be the most sticky?
Uh, for employers, what they find to be the most complicated for them? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah,
Zen?
you got that.
Okay.
Hey, from me to you. That
Well,
worked.
I would knock it down to pretty much two categories are the main drivers that we're seeing at Midwest HR. First is healthcare. Medical insurance obviously has gotten pretty complicated in the last few years on affordable health care. The laws have been kind of changing as the calendar changes. So we're trying to keep up with that. It's complicated
like a
for
real
us. We have
page-turner.
people that are constantly going to classes to be certified for ACA, Affordable Care Act. So I'm not sure how businesses can keep up with that when that's not the main thing that they do.
So
And then secondly, compliance, employment laws and compliance. So those are two of the big drivers of today.
So since you go to all these classes, does that mean that you're a class act?
I'm not, but I have other people that are.
Other people are a class act. Here
He
for
has a good cast.
For years, you told me that you're a class act, the number one guy, and now I find out it's everyone else in your organization.
Well, and as you know, any business owner, you gather good people around you that know more about specific areas, and you turn them loose. You trust them to do their job, right? And that's how you become a good organization.
Absolutely, yeah. We invest a lot in our people to give them all of the tools and resources so they can be the best for our clients.
So when organizations participate with the PEO, do they come to you primarily because they think that they need the HR assistance, or they really come to you because of the complications in the health insurance area?
It varies. It varies by customer. I would say those are the top two. I'm not sure if there's one that is more than the other, or simply for the fact that all of these items are just getting too complicated, and they really want to get back focusing on their core competencies and want to have somebody else who knows it better than they do handle it for them more affordably, and the ability to obtain better benefits for their employees.
So I'm just really curious. What got you into this area to begin with?
Now, that raises eyebrows.
Well, how much time do we have for this? My background is I'm an old payroll guy from right out of school. I joined a very large national payroll company, and I was there for 10 years. And a good friend of mine was involved in the PEO business and was bringing a PEO public. And asked and this is back in the 90s, and asked if I thought that the PEO was going to be a viable solution for companies. And I really thought that it was going to bring value above and beyond just what a payroll company does. Payroll is 1/4 of what a PEO provides. I was intrigued by the concept and left the payroll company and joined the PEO world a little over 20 years ago. And
what did you hope to accomplish with that? I mean, I've seen, your mission statement basically is to continuous improvement and to be better today than yesterday.
Yes.
I think we could all agree with that. It's tough to be better every day. But how do you fulfill that in the organization and your service delivery?
Well, to me, it's very simple. We start with our customer and work back from there. And through our, from what we hear from our current clients, what we hear from prospective clients, what are the trends, what are the things that they struggle with, and we try to figure out the best way we can to help them with that. And that is different today than it was 5 years ago,
Sure.
Different than 10 years ago. So it's the marketplace, it's the customer that really drives that on what we're offering.
So with customer centrism,
I would say that's really our driver, and then from there it's up to us to figure it out.
So basically, what you're really saying is that you are a tailor, in the respect that you cut the suit to fit the client.
Well, I'm going
And
to
help
write
them
that
sew it
down, Ray.
together.
That was very well said.
Well,
Yes.
so do you like that? Okay.
He does that every amongst the punniness.
What do I owe you for that, Ray?
You owe me a suit. How's that?
Uh-oh.
But don't sue me. That's a different kind of suit. So
Not a lawsuit, huh?
no lawsuits, right? So when you it's
Blue would be good.
It was interesting years ago when I had when I was in a peer group. One of my employment lawyers that I used to deal with, he said he was representing employing leasing companies, and it was because the PEOs at that time were called employment leasing. So we did a workshop, and his comment was that this was in the early '90s or mid '90s, and he thought it was a great tool for small businesses, and it has evolved even more. Now, how does a PEO become competitive on the insurance aspect? Because I know a lot of people are really concerned about the insurance.
Well, there are all different ways that a PEO can slice and dice medical insurance. Some PEOs, very large PEOs with tens of thousands of employees, will work with a national provider, have tens or hundreds of millions of dollars of premium, and use that to obtain insurance. And they will look at the groups that they have in their mix, and some of them are healthier groups and some are not so healthy. So it's very important that the PEO and insurance company rate those groups appropriately, or they could fall to something called adverse selection, which is an insurance term meaning you're attracting bad groups into your pool.
That's bad juju, huh?
Other PEOs will secure medical insurance in the customer's name. This will give some flexibility for the client if they are looking for the most expensive, the Cadillac insurance in the marketplace. They're able to get that. If they're looking to provide the least expensive insurance in the marketplace, they can do that too, versus being locked into one carrier, having one option. So PEOs will do it both ways. It just varies on who the PEO is and what their philosophy is.
So, in general, but what is your philosophy? So, when you come to approach a client, succinctly, what is the philosophy of MidwestHR?
Our philosophy is, and I have taken this approach both ways. I have done this in a large group policy, and currently we secure the medical insurance in our customer's name. And the rationale that we have behind it is the insurance company will still, there might be some competitive rates to pull you in so you can sign up as a customer. However, if your group is trending with high claims, the insurance company will go back at renewal and will adjust the rates accordingly. We like, getting back to your tailored suit approach, we like to have groups that can have whatever type of insurance they're looking for. I don't want to have one carrier for all of my clients because one suit doesn't fit all people. So we will look at it in our customer's name. They're not obtaining any deep discounts on the medical insurance. However, we are vetting out several different options that a traditional insurance carrier or broker won't do. We work with several brokers, some with self-funded plans, some with very traditional plans. There's many creative plans that are out there today. Many are a result from the Affordable Care Act. So we will vet out all of those options and present them to the customer, and they decide. At the end of the day, it's their medical plans for their employees. We'll vet them out. And then secondly is going to be the administration part of this, which would be the enrolling the employees, explaining the plan designs, the questions, the networks, and things of that nature. And that's what we do as well. So
Well, it
I
sounds like
kind
you
of
have a
changed my
very
philosophy from
much
10 years
more
ago
of
to
a
today.
menu item and turning that into a falafel seed rather than a philosophy.
A falafel.
A falafel seed,
Okay,
and
but
with that,
speaking of menu, I'm going to do the break. Speaking of menu, we're going to make our selection and be back shortly.
Two Small Biz Guys with Zen and Ray. We'll be back after this.
The digital world is vast. Is it working for you? Would you like some qualified help? Zen Benefiel is a wonder with social media who leads focused and organized workshops on multiple platforms like Facebook, Google+, and LinkedIn. He leads by example, not theory, and teaches you how to live large and lively on the web. From blogs to SEO, his web presence speaks for itself. Take advantage of his expertise. Visit BeTheDream.com and click on Web Wizardry. Hire him while you can.
As a business owner, have you ever felt alone at the top? You don't have to be. Ray Silverstein has worked with many business owners for over 20 years facilitating peer advisory boards. He is the proverbial mentor and tormentor. A Pro President's Peer Advisory Board is a confidential monthly meeting of non-competitive owners that give support, feedback, and knowledge. They know the adage, all of us are smarter than one of us. He has walked in your shoes, having owned and sold 2 companies with sales in excess of $60 million and approximately 1,300 employees. In Young President's organization, he participated in peer advisory boards and felt it was a key to his success. His passion is to help small business owners succeed. He knows peer boards work when you are open, don't feel like you know it all, are willing to put issues on the table, and willing to take criticism. Be his guest at a Pro Advisory Board meeting to see if it works for you. There's no commitment to join, and you'll have a great experience. To sample a free Pro Business Owner Peer Board, email ray@proprez.com. That's ray@proprez.com. There's no commitment or charge. You're listening to Two Small Biz Guys. Now, back to your hosts, Zen Benefiel and Ray Silverstein.
and we've been parading around the studio. Speaking of parades, Jeff, I hear that you are missing one, and thank you for doing that and giving up your space for us. That's go Cubs. I mean,
There's a little parade going on in downtown Chicago today. I have it on the TVs here in our office, and it'll be interesting to see the number that they announce later today that we're at the Cubs victory parade. So,
what was it like for you
108
witnessing?
years and finally broke the curse.
Yeah, you told me the other night that you even ate goat to break the curse.
I did. I ate some goat about 2 weeks ago, and it worked.
So the real question I always want to know about that is, does that make you horny?
But I'm ching.
Our engineer just left.
The engineer has left the building.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I better answer that one.
Well, what was it? Goat stew, goat shank, shoulder.
Zen he's the chef extraordinaire. Have you ever made goat?
Yes, I have actually.
Oh, okay.
And we made it Nigerian style,
Oh God. Okay.
which was to take the
Make this very quickly because
well, it was basically the hip, so it was more of
So you
butt
f-
stew.
so you're telling me you found goat hip? Is that
Yes.
what you're telling me? Okay.
Yeah, it was really hip.
So
Obviously, it worked. And so, what was your feelings when those final moments of that last Cubs game was happening?
It was fantastic. I've been following the Cubs ever since I've been a child, and I've had the opportunity to go to quite a few games here in the last 10 years or so. We've been to several games this year, and I was able to see many of the playoff games and even some World Series games this year. So it was, we just had family around my house, and we watched the Cubs bring it in, and we were all very, very excited about it. It was wonderful. It was
okay. So how do you relate MidwestHR to the Cubs? I know that sometimes years and years ago, there were some difficulties and problems, and now you're winners, just like the Cubs. So, what is your relation experience on that?
Well, that's actually a good question. I use some of Joe Maddon's, who's the coach of the Cubs, a lot of his philosophies and what we do here. And I think, what the Cubs have done in the last 5 years when they brought Theo Epstein in is basically what they were doing for 103 years wasn't winning a World Series. So you have to take a look at all aspects of your business, and there need to be some changes there. And so they had some personnel changes.
So that was an Upstein and not just an Epstein.
Oh, you're trying too hard. Okay, so
brought him up.
They made a lot of changes and tweaks along the way in the last 5 years, and they have the right players, have the right philosophy, and they definitely have the right values in their system, and that is what worked.
So back to the tailor-made approach that you take to helping businesses. What are the process that you use to help an organization or a company build a team? With our clients? Yes.
Well, we just walk them through some simple steps from an HR standpoint.
Do you do the personality or personal communication preferences surveys and things of that nature, so that they make sure that they get the best employee out of the box? Not that you have a box.
Absolutely. I mean, one thing is when you look at your talents in your at your company, you're going to always have some peak performers in your company, and many times there are a few folks that are probably holding you back. And sure, there's a lot of profile testing, and we have those things available as well. But
are the companies willing to look at that and include those types of services? Because I found, and I think Ray has too over the years, that when you're dealing with owners and small business managers and things, that's not necessarily something that they think about. They tend to want to trust their gut instead of using proven technology that actually helps them build a better team. Do you find that is a challenge with them?
Yeah, you're going to have a mix. You're going to have some folks that are not open to it, and they like the old ways of the ways that have gotten them to where they're at right now, and you have other folks that are very open to all ideas and all technology and resources that are available, and then somewhere in the middle. And at the end, I guess what you have to do is look in the mirror and say, is where I'm at right now everywhere where I want to be?
So is your ideal client more like the latter of those folks that are open and willing to look at all the possibilities for building their organization?
Yeah, we provide them all of the tools. We make suggestions to them. Ultimately, it's going to be up to our client to decide if they want to use those tools and resources that we have or not. It's up
Have
to
you
them.
ever fired a client?
I'm sorry?
Have you ever fired a client?
No. The only time we would really ever fire a client is if we weren't getting paid, I guess, and that hasn't happened for about 15 years. So no, we don't. We don't fire clients.
So
your suits fit. It's a one size fit all, huh?
No. So when you work,
well, it's tailor made.
Yeah, I know. When a client, he's just working too hard. When a client works with you, when the person gets a paycheck, does it have your name on or the client's name on the paycheck? Since they're kind of a dual employee.
Yeah, it's the arrangement in a PEO is called a co-employment arrangement, and it's a contractual agreement whereby the customer retains retains all the abilities to hire and fire and run their operations and conduct their business, as normal. The PEO becomes the employer that processes the payroll, files and deposits the payroll taxes, secures employee benefits, workers' compensation is usually spelled out in that agreement. So it's a co-employment arrangement. Employees all are completely are aware of that arrangement. And some PEOs have the ability to, because the PEO is the employer of record from a federal ID standpoint, the PEO's name needs to be on the payroll check somehow, some way. However, we have the ability with our software to have our client's name on there on the payroll check as well, or the direct deposit voucher.
Yeah,
So they still have that connection there. What we find with most people, as long as they get paid, they don't really care whose name is on the check.
well, that may be from the employee.
As long as the money spends.
The employer many times wants to have their name, so at least they have that relationship with the employee. But as a PEO, you don't make the decision as to amount of payment, in other words, as to the compensation for the individual. That is done by the company.
Exactly right.
You're just there to fulfill the service of the payroll service and taxes and everything else.
Exactly.
Do you get involved with on the HR aspect? Do companies bring you in to talk about motivational programs with their employees, or are you just doing the compliance type of activity?
We love to get involved from a proactive standpoint to help the owners, managers, and employees be the best that they can be. We can do that on site. We also have, for our company, we run bi-weekly webinars. If it's not easy to do it on the client site, they can tap into our webinars. So yes, from a compliance standpoint, from a motivation, from a training standpoint, we hope to provide as many services as we can proactively. There's always going to be a reactive side to HR. There's a situation that comes up. Basically, we got a fire drill, we get called, and they say, what do we do? We've got this situation unfolding. What should we do? And we will walk them through what is what we feel is the best direction to handle that situation, that will have the best legal ramifications and less chance that employer is going to be put into a bad spot if they're pulled in from a legal or other standpoint.
So do you have employment lawyers on your staff, or that you use on these questions that come up, which are kind of tricky?
It depends on. I don't have any employment lawyers on staff. There are PEOs that definitely larger ones that do have employment lawyers on staff. However, we have employment lawyers on retainer, and even employment law can get very granular. So depending on what the scenario is what employment lawyer we will talk to on dicey situations.
Ray,
Most
were
of
you
the
expecting a
situations we're able
pun
to
from me?
handle
Is that
in-house.
why you looked at me?
No. But the aspect. So what you're saying is that when the
I get a little
circumstan-
grainy sometimes.
Yes, you have. So what you're saying is that when a situation comes up, is that you will go to the resource that you think has the best experience and knowledge in that area.
Yes.
So going back to grainy, I wonder why do you bring that up?
Well, he was talking about granular.
Oh.
So when things get really grainy, you got to get the picture clear. You got to make it appear so that it makes sense. Because especially with employment law, like Jeff had said, it can get really complex,
Yes.
and you really don't know which pixel is going to end up going out or shining too brightly, or in dealing with that full picture, the big picture view of things.
Okay, I'm
It's
overwhelmed with that response, but that's okay.
Well, okay, let me underwhelm you. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening to Two Small Biz Guys.
Two Small Biz Guys with Zen and Ray. We'll be back after this.
Zen Benefiel with Be the Dream Transformational Life Coaching and Professional Services at BeTheDream.com. Our mission? To provide leading-edge transformational personal and business development services. Our services include life coaching, enterprise coaching, partnering facilitations, and possibilities coagulating. We've been in business since 1988. In times of massive change, you need someone who can help you adjust and transform. I can meet that challenge with you, offering a stellar skill set from serving individuals and companies for over 20 years. I invite you to peruse BeTheDream.com and put me to the test. Fill out the coaching assessment survey and give me a call. The first call is free, and you can find out if I'm what you are looking for in a coach, consultant, or service provider. Call 480-633-7179. Let your dreams mold future realities. BeTheDream.com.
Business owners want to call their own shots, make appropriate income, and control their destiny. Our passion is to help you achieve your goals. A Pro Peer Advisory Board is just the thing. It's a confidential monthly meeting of non-competitive owners facilitated by a pro who has walked in your shoes. He's your mentor and tormentor, moving you ahead. When you have issues or opportunities keeping you awake, where do you get help? Pro Boards give support and non-biased feedback from your peers. To sample a free Pro President's Board meeting, email ray@propres.com. There's no commitment or charge. Email ray@propres.com. You're listening to Two Small Biz Guys. Now, back to your hosts, Zen Benefiel and Ray Silverstein.
And again, we want to thank all the listeners for tuning in and helping us grow our audience. You know, we recently broached the 100,000 listens mark, which
Wow.
is huge. Do you know we post our show to over 90 Facebook groups around the world right now?
Wow.
And we're growing.
We're growing. That means we're gruesome.
We grew some.
Yes, we grew
You're absolutely right. That should have got a smile on your face, Jeff. So
Very Halloween appropriate joke, Ray.
That's right. Halloween appropriate joke. Gruesome. Okay. It's scary. I'll tell you that. Years ago, when I was talking to you about health insurance and about and you were about the programs that you had. I don't know if you're still doing this or not, but you were talking about high deductible programs that would save the employers money, and therefore where you were self-insuring part of that high deductible. Is that something you're still doing that you can bring to companies, or is that something that's because of the Obamacare Act is no longer applies?
We still have that as one of our options. What's interesting is the landscape of medical insurance, health insurance has changed so much in the last 4 to 5 years, and there are to keep things even relatively affordable. I remember a while ago we were offering $1,000 deductible plans, and nobody was buying them because they thought it was way too high of a deductible. Now, if you have a $1,000 deductible, you probably have one of the richest plans amongst all of your friends. However, that is definitely one of the options that we have with higher deductibles, that we work with our customers and cover a lower amount for them. It's kind of a unique program that we have.
And like with any kind of deductible or insurance program, the higher your deductible, the lower your plan is. And, the
lower the cost of the plan.
Right, the lower your
premium
contribution to it is.
Yeah, that is true. And there's also, other options that are out there with health savings accounts that were not really used that much when they were initiated.
Right. Now, just to clarify for our listeners, the health savings accounts are those that you actually put money into, and then you're allowed to use that money for any kind of service, be it life coaching, massage, nutritional counseling, any of those things that can benefit your health that normal insurance companies don't cover, correct?
Yeah, there's a list. There's a list for those kinds of things. So This is you're on the
Not
list.
that we're listing.
Yes, you're listing with that question.
Right.
But going back, that you were talking about one time where a company could buy, for example, a $10,000 deductible, or you would buy that for them, and you would kind of self-insure from their deductible that they gave the employees on the premise that, therefore, the most expensive part is the claims that true insurances are those claims which are really major, which are above $10,000 or $5,000 for an employee. And you were working on some type of format where the insurance cost was lower, or the premium cost was lower, and that. So I don't know if I'm confusing this whole issue. Is that something you still do, or?
Yeah, it is one of the plans that we have. We kind of have steered away into some other directions, just due to healthcare reform. That becomes a little more complicated than it was before. But with the philosophy of having a self-insurance, a fully funded plan via a self-insurance vehicle, that is something that we have coupled with a wellness program. So those are a few strategies with wellness and fully funded self-insurance are a few of the options that we have available at Midwest HR.
When you mentioned wellness, have you found that companies will buy into the wellness aspect? Has that really brought down premium costs and experience? With wellness, again, this gets back to the question you had asked earlier. Some employers are, no matter what kind of statistics and what have you that you show them, don't really care so much about the wellness. If they have high employee turnover, they probably are not so interested in the wellness side of it. We try to help companies, of course, reduce their turnover via having strong insurance plans and retirement plans, and working them with an HR standpoint and getting them to be the best employees. However, folks that have longtime employees will see the benefit of that, as that'll help some of their employees, whether it's through helping them to quit smoking or lose weight, for example, or join a gym or have a regular exercise program, and they can see the results because their employees stay with them for a while. Those are the folks most likely to do that. Also, younger younger aged owners of businesses are a little bit more health driven, wellness driven than old people like a few people I know, right?
Well, there's so much more information available today, and we realized that you weren't really pointing at Ray with that comment.
When he saw older people,
Yeah.
he was going to say that. I saw it on
No.
his lips, but he thought he had discretion's a better part of valor, and he has a lot of valor. So
Yeah, well, I'll admit you're an old guy.
no, I'm young at heart and just old in experience.
Exactly. See, and that's the old guy. That doesn't mean that you're decrepit. It just means
no.
you're an old guy. And I've always heard,
I'm glad you pronounced decrepit correctly.
Yeah, well, I'd get shot if they didn't. So, with the companies, though, back to our topic at hand, high turnover, obvious sign something's not right within the company. How do you handle that with the ownership or boards of the companies that you deal with?
Yeah, I mean, high turnover, there's some signs that you would easily go to right away to see what the rationale is behind that. A couple ones that come to mind quickly would be the wages that they are paying. Are they lower than what the averages would be for that position in that area of the country? We can run those kinds of models to determine that. Secondly, getting back to the health insurance and the employee benefits. What are they offering with employee benefits, and how much are they contributing toward those benefits? If the employees have to shoulder a high amount of the cost for the employee benefits, that could be another reason why you have high turnover. Do they offer a retirement plan? Do they contribute to that retirement plan? Are the managers that they have in place, are they best trained to help their employees exceed at what their jobs are? So those are just some of the things that we can drill down to and try to help the employers correct those so they really lower their costs in a significant way.
So when you get an
Sure.
employer that gives you the indication that they really could care less, what do you do with that? Do you just walk away and say, okay, there's nothing I can do, but you can still serve them with the other services that you have? Or do you spend time to kind of nurture that relationship in order to get them to see the better points of wisdom in that?
Oh yeah, that's we're thankful we have clients of ours that are with us for many years, 10, 15, 20-year clients. So we're very fortunate with that. And sometimes we're not able to convince people of offering or paying more for employee benefits, for example, and they continue to see the same things happen year after year. And then they take an appetizer, a little taste of what we're talking about, and they see better results with the employees, more employees on the plan, happier employees.
So
But yeah, we're
what's
not
your
going to give up
sampler
on them. We're
platter?
gonna keep working with them. And
What's your
to
sampler
help them
platter?
Oh, what's your sample platter? Do you when you say you give them a little appetizer, what would an appetizer be?
For
Isn't that
example,
what I just
if
said?
someone is paying the very minimum amount
old guy.
possible for medical insurance,
Okay.
we would suggest some ideas, for example, on a higher deductible plan for them to pay a majority of that because the cost will be lower. So if we will offer multiple medical plans and have them pay a much higher amount
Okay.
for a higher deductible, so they have some kind of coverage. And if a situation happens with that employee and they have coverage, they're going to be a happier employee. Plus, with larger groups, there is still an underwriting process that takes place, and therefore you want as many people on the plan as possible. You want the youngest employees on the plan, the healthiest folks on the plan, and that would be by contributing more for health insurance is one example.
You had mentioned that on the HR side, you get involved with employee surveys as to what are employees really looking for from the employer, or is that something that is not in the realm of a PEO?
PEOs can provide that services. Some smaller PEOs probably don't have the resources to do things like that. Larger ones offer that more frequently. We're a mid-sized PEO, and it's definitely a service we can offer for our customers. And we have been pulled in from time to time to survey the employees, deliver the results back to management, and for them to use that data. We can make suggestions on how they want to use that data.
It's interesting from past experience when employers do surveys. The ones I know, when I used to be involved with various groups, the owners always got upset. They said that can't be us. So, how do you convey and convince them that there really is an issue?
Well, the facts don't lie, so that it is what it is, and like with anything, you can make changes and then try to improve, or keep the status quo. And not all the time do folks make a change right away. Sometimes it takes 6 months, a year, or a couple years before they start making some subtle changes.
And those changes do take time. I mean, even with a drastic change of procedures, sometimes organizations expect drastic changes immediately in the employees and the flow of business and things like that. That doesn't happen. It takes a while for that to take place.
Okay. I have one other quickie question. When you talk about
Well, let's hold that till after the break.
Oh,
I know you're old, but you're still, you can pay attention to time.
So in other words, won't be a quickie question to be a longer question?
It'll be a longer question after the break, and we all thank you for listening to Two Small Biz Guys. We'll be right back.
Two Small Biz Guys with Zen and Ray. We'll be back after this. Business owners want to call their own shots, make appropriate income, and control their destiny. Our passion is to help you achieve your goals. A Pro Peer Advisory Board is just the thing. It's a confidential monthly meeting of non-competitive owners facilitated by a pro who has walked in your shoes. He's your mentor and tormentor, moving you ahead. When you have issues or opportunities keeping you awake, where do you get help? Pro boards give support and non-biased feedback from your peers. To sample a free Pro President's Board meeting, email ray@propres.com. There's no commitment or charge. Email ray@propres.com.
Are you a small business owner looking for education and information and don't have time for school? Is there an area of your business you'd like to know more about but aren't sure where to go or who to ask? Practical Biz U is an online repository of small business courses now available to you on the web. There are single class options, bundles for specific areas, and monthly memberships for ongoing learning opportunities. Go to practicalbizu.com and sign up today.
You're listening to Two Small Biz Guys. Now, back to your hosts, Zen Benefiel and Ray Silverstein.
And again, we thank you all for listening. We failed to mention so far that there's a lot of free stuff available on our website, twosmallbizguys.com. There's crib notes from Ray's.
What is that website?
It's Two Small Biz Guys.
That
That's the number two.
Oh, number two.
SMALLBIZGUYS.com.
Oh, I'm overwhelmed with that. But okay,
Yeah,
but you're right.
well.
There's a lot of good stuff there. Just like this show is good stuff.
It is.
My-
a lot of
my-
good information. Not that you would hear it normally speaking, because there's not a whole
No,
lot
we
of
don't-
information
we don't
about PEOs out there.
No, we don't speak normally. We speak very precisely. So I have my quickie question had to do with, we were talking about turnover, and the studies basically show that when people leave, it's primarily due to the manager, the person that they report to. So you mentioned that you sometimes do counseling with the businesses, and you sometimes do get involved. And do you do the training, or do you basically suggest training for them, or how does that come about, where you work with a manager or with a company where they have turnover with a manager?
Yeah, we have our staff has the credentials in order to conduct various training modules to our clients. Again, they could be on site, it could be through webinars. We will basically conduct an HR audit when we bring a new customer on board.
Now, are most of your, pardon me for interrupting, are those people mostly members of like the Association for Talent Development or SHRM?
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll have the PHR, PHR, SEBS. I mean, we have all kinds of credentials with HR and benefit professionals here.
So that really is a strong offering that you can make to the groups that you serve with that kind of training and development availability.
Yes.
Easy for me to
Mm-hmm.
say. I'll every once in a while I stutter.
Yeah, you do. Well, since you're dealing with a variety of businesses, what do you find is generally the number one area of concern or interest that they have in why they should use a PEO?
Well, I think it really drives down, I think, to three main factors that we're noticing there today. The first is healthcare reform with Affordable Care Act, not understanding that, wanting to understand all of the different options that are available. what are all of the rules, depending on how many employees that they have, what reports need to be filed. There's lots of questions that companies have regarding medical insurance and Affordable Care Act. So that has been a big driver for us the last few years. The second has to do with employment compliance. This gets into the minimum wage laws, the overtime laws, Fair Labor Standard Act. There's laws that are coming out by the day, and just trying to keep up with those to make sure that they're not out of compliance. And then last would be businesses that simply want to focus on their core business and provide excellent benefits for their employees. Their focus is on what they do, whether it's an architectural firm, could be a CPA firm, could be an IT company. They're very good at that core competency, and they want to focus on that, and that's where their passion is and where they're going to make their money. And the things that we're involved with only cost you money and bring you liability. So we try to lower those costs and minimize your liabilities.
Wow. So it's interesting that you're basically, Zen is making a smile when I said, wow. He's not impressed.
I wasn't. Yeah, it's like that's unnatural for you. You usually have a much better response for something like that.
Well,
or were you just pausing to figure out what to say next?
No. It's because it was a wow, because I thought it was an interesting aspect.
Well, really, I mean, those are three key issues, the healthcare, the employment compliance, and benefits.
So
that's
okay. Not to get into the political arena, but the Affordable Care Act is very complex, and so therefore, what you're saying is that there are penalties for the employer if they don't really comply with the act.
Mm-hmm.
So it's your job to keep them away from those penalties and also to make it affordable for them.
That's a tough act to follow.
A tough act to follow. Right. That was a good summary, wasn't it?
Yeah, the employers, it varies on there's many aspects to the Affordable Care Act, and there are benefits for small employers under 25 employees to offer medical insurance, which is a large portion of our client base and a PEO client base. Employers between 25 and 50 is kind of wide open ocean there. Over 50 employees is where you need to offer affordable coverage with minimal essential coverage. So we will, particularly on the companies that have 50 full-time equivalent employees, look at the plans that they have to make sure that it's in compliance. If it's not, we show them how to do that, so they do not have these penalties, because the penalties could be quite pricey. If you have, even, let's say you had 200 employees, the fines could reach up to $3,000 an individual. That'd be $600,000 in fines. So we walk them through and help them stay compliant with Affordable Care Act.
Going back to the smaller employers with less than 25, you said there are certain benefits for them to offer the health insurance.
Yep.
What are some of those benefits that they should consider, and basically how a PEO helps them?
Well, the benefits they would get is that they would get a tax credit on their corporate return if you're a small employer offering employee benefits. We think it's a good idea for all employers to offer employee benefits. They're able to more easily do that in an arrangement with a PEO, and obviously I feel strongly that MidwestHR provides some excellent options for them there too, for all kinds of reasons. But
could you repeat that for a moment?
We will bring them different options available for them to decide what they want to deliver to their employees.
Okay, so you're saying that for a company with less than 25 employees, they get a tax credit. Mm-hmm. That's in addition to the deductibility of the expense of the insurance?
Yes.
So they're actually getting a double benefit there, both the
Yes.
deductibility and the tax credit. Oh,
Cha-ching.
see, yeah, ka-ching, ka-ching. I wasn't aware of that. So that's interesting. So the companies on the 25 to 50, which you say is kind of a nebulous or maybe a not a clear area.
Yeah, there's not a credit nor a penalty.
So they're in a never land. And
Right.
what happens if they start off the year with, say, less than 50 employees, and by the time the year is over, they get more than 50 employees? What is the cutoff date for those situations?
That's going to be proportional to when they went over 50 employees. So if they went over 50 employees in the last quarter of the year, they will look at the last 25% to make sure that they're in compliance there. So it's proportionate to the calendar year.
Do you have any recommended number of when they reach a certain number of employees to when the ownership starts looking at the changes that are coming and what they're going to need to do when they reach that 50 mark?
Well, Zen, what's interesting is we find that employers, there's so much unknown to healthcare reform. I have seen many businesses that are worried about that 50 employee range, that are afraid to go over the 50 employee range because of Affordable Care Act. And however, they are offering excellent coverage and within the guidelines of affordability under ACA. There's no reason they should put a cap on their business at 50 employees when they're already in compliance.
Right.
So many things are just not known. So we will work with business to help them better understand the laws and to guide them.
Because you are in the know, and so being in the know, Midwest HR. So it's MidwestHR.com. Is that
Yep.
okay? So if our listeners want to go check the company out, that's
Please
their
do.
web address. And
But the aspect is, it's not being in the know, it's being in the yes. Because when you deal with somebody who knows, you are now in a yes because you know what to do. Our engineer is covering his eyes with that. But
yes.
But basically,
Yes.
what you're saying is that
More yeses than nos.
that's right, that the PEOs have it's really a
The
one-stop.
PEOs are in the know.
It's
yes.
really a one-stop shop.
That sounds like a millennial. I hear the millennials always say no yes or yes no.
Okay.
That aggravates that.
So
crap
it's
out of
really
me.
it's really a one-stop shop for all these type of issues.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, again, getting back to your question about payroll, it's payroll on steroids because we have HR, we have workers' comp, and employee benefits on top of payroll.
What do you enjoy about that the most? That being an ambiguous pronoun in this case.
What I enjoy about it is that it's every day is new, and technology is changing every day, and we need to be on the leading edge of technology again for our customers. Employee benefits are changing by the day. We have to be on top of that. So it's a new day with new information, and that's what I enjoy about it the most. You won't get bored working at a PEO, that's for sure, because the rules change every single day.
So Jeff, the next
That's
time
what
the next time I see you, I'm going to say, "What's new?"
Absolutely. And continuing that newness, we will also have contact information for Jeff and Midwest HR on the website, so that if you missed it, you can go back and look at the website, as well as the many blog items and shows that we have in our past so far. And we want to thank Jeff for being a guest today and taking time out and missing the Cubs parade. I'm so sorry that had to happen, and yet we're so glad that you were able to be with us.
I think the Enlightenment was worth his missing the parade, because now knowledge is king.
It is.
My pleasure.
And quality
gentlemen.
queen.
Thank you very much for having me. Much appreciated.
You're very welcome, Jeff. And we will sign off now. And thank you so much for being part of Two Small Biz Guys. Ray, your final words of wisdom?
Final words of wisdom. I think that PEOs are very helpful for small business organizations because it gives you one-stop shop to do the stuff.
A one-stop shop, just like Two Small Biz Guys. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to Two Small Biz Guys with Zen Benefiel and Ray Silverstein. You can hear Two Small Biz Guys live every Wednesday at noon or catch their show on demand anytime 24/7 right here on StarWorldWideNetworks.com.